Hello there, my friends. Welcome to this beginner feel good flow. For class today, grab a couple of blocks, maybe a strap if you like to use a strap, and then also if you like to use a blanket, have that handy as well. And before we start, as always, this is your body and your practice. So choose the options, the modifications that work for your body that you know feel best. If something that I'm doing doesn't feel right for your body, by all means, back out of it, do something different. Child's pose is always there for you to take if you need a break or a rest. So just listen to your body. We will get started down in a child's pose. So bring your knees wide, big toes towards one another. Gently press your hips back towards your heels and then reach your arms either out in front of you with palms facing down or even back towards your heels. You can rest your forehead down on the mat. Take some deep breaths. If child's pose is not comfortable for you in this version, I will go ahead and offer that you can roll up your blanket and place it between your thighs and your calf muscles. You can kind of play around with what feels best. It might feel best like between your heels and your hips, or maybe up closer behind your knees, but that'll kind of give you something to press back into. That can always feel good. So just an option there. As we start to settle in and arrive here on our mats, checking in with the breath. Start to take some even inhales and even exhales. For today's class, we are going to focus on the concept of santosha, which is a Sanskrit word that translates to contentment or acceptance. And today we're going to focus kind of on that acceptance part. For today's class, I would like you to really focus on just meeting yourself where you are today. We know that that can be different from day to day, from week to week. So come into this practice without any expectations or without any judgment of kind of what your body is doing in these poses, and just focus on choosing the right options for you and doing things that feel good. One more breath. On your next inhale, press down through your hands, lift your head, and then thread your right arm underneath your left. Keep the right palm facing up, and then lower your right temple down towards the mat. Take a little thread the needle here in your child's pose. One more breath. Press down through that left hand, lift the chest, switch sides. Right arm reaches forward. Thread that left arm through. You might be up a little bit higher, and that's all good. Start here with that acceptance. Next inhale, press down through that right hand, reach the left arm long. Let's lift up into a tabletop position. If you're using a blanket, you can either scoot it off to the side or you can even lay it underneath your knees if you'd like a little bit of support there. We'll come into our tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and just start to circle around the mat, taking some dancing lions. Do about 3 going each direction. Starting to wake up through the wrists. And then once you've done your 3, going the opposite way, we'll take a few wrist rocks. So turn your fingertips to face towards the outsides of your mat, and then rock side to side over your hands. And then this next one we'll face the right fingertips forward, and then take the left fingertips and point them back towards your left knee. Now, if this is already, when you have your wrist lined up, feeling too intense on that left forearm, you could walk that left hand back a little bit closer to your body. That'll take some of the pressure off, and then we'll just rock back and forth. So wherever you start to feel the stretch in kind of the left forearm, take that, and then switch sides. Reach the left fingertips forward, right fingertips back. These feel amazing. I carried really heavy buckets yesterday on the farm, and my forearms were feeling it. This is such a good stretch. We'll bring that right hand back forward into that neutral tabletop, and we'll work through some cat-cows. On an inhale, drop your belly, lift your seat, chest kind of shines forward. Exhale, press into those hands, tuck the pelvis, tuck the chin, arch. Inhale it back forward, shoulder blades towards one another, cow. Exhale, press those hands down into the mat, round the back. Do a few more of these on your own breath. Waking up that spine. Last one here. And then we'll come back to neutral. Take your right leg and take some hip circles. Keep the right knee bent, just circle it around in one direction, and the other. And then open that right leg out to the side, extend the leg long, place the right toes down to where they're facing forward and you've got a straight right leg, and then just start to rock back and forth. There are little adductor rocks opening up through the thigh. Find some stillness and then bring that right leg back behind you into a balancing tabletop. So long line from the crown of your head all the way through that right foot. And then two options here. You can either start to take some crunches by almost like that cat pose, pushing the floor away, rounding through the back knee to nose. You can do them that way. Or if you'd like to extend that left arm long, a little bit more of a balance challenge, bring the elbow towards the knee, knee towards the elbow. So whatever's calling to you today, if you'd like to amp it up a little bit more of a balance wobble challenge, extend that left arm. If not, leave it down. Next time the leg goes behind you, hold it up. If you have that left arm reaching out in front, extend it long. We're going to hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left hand comes down, right knee comes down. We'll do the opposite side. Hip circles here on the left. Once you've done a few, change directions, go back that opposite way. And then open that left leg out to the side, extend it, place the left toes down and take those rocks on the left side, back and forth. Couple more. You know what's coming, that balancing tabletop. We'll come back to center, reach your left leg behind you, take those crunches, knee to nose, or through balancing tabletop with the right arm extended. Let's do 2 more wherever you are. And then we have the hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right hand comes down. Left knee comes down. Curl those toes. Walk your hands about a hand's distance in front. Lift your hips up. Take your first downward facing dog. Keep bent knees and heels lifted here. Maybe start to walk out through the heels, opening up the back of the legs. In your downward facing dog, main goal is to have a long line going all the way up through our arms, into our back, up through the sit bones. So if lowering your heels and straightening your legs is causing rounding in your back, keep the knees bent, keep the heels up, and lift those sit bones up to get a long line in your back. And then we'll tiptoe to the front of the mat and just slowly roll up to stand, one vertebrae at a time. Let your head arrive last. From here, we'll do 2 sun sal A's to get warmed up. So inhale the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold forward into Uttanasana, forward fold, release the crown of your head. Keep those bent knees, keep the chest reaching towards the thighs. Inhale, come into half lift, hands on shins, the mat. You can have blocks underneath your hands. Exhale, plant those hands down, step back into your plank, come down onto your knees, and then lower down through Chaturanga. Bend your elbows, lower the chest all the way down. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Lift the chest, shoulder blades draw towards one another, cobra. Exhale the chest down. Press back up onto hands and knees. Curl those toes under. Lift your hips back up, downward facing dog. Take an inhale. On your exhale, step to the front of your mat. Inhale into that half lift, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. And then press down through those feet. Rise all the way back up to stand, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Let's do one more. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, step the feet back into your plank. Lower down onto your knees, bend the elbows, lower the chest. Press up to cobra. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another. Roll those upper arm bones up and back. Squeeze your glutes. Exhale, lower the chest. Come back up onto hands and knees. Curl the toes. Lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Take an inhale. On your exhale, step to the front of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And then rise all the way up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Meet in Tadasana. Take a breath here at the top of your mat. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, sit back into Utkatasana chair. Bend your knees, sit your seat back behind you. Keep that transverse abdominis, that corset muscle hugging in. You can bring hands to heart center and step this left foot back, and we'll arrive in Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So feet can be hips distance apart. Right toes point forward, left toes will work to get the heel down in Virabhadrasana 1. That's not feeling good for this leg. You can always take a crescent lunge and just come up on that back toe. Work to get the heel down if not, and the toes will point out slightly. Hips will face probably not all the way towards the front of your mat. That's a lot of moving through the hip, more towards the front left corner. Arms reach up, palms face towards one another into Virabhadrasana 1. Take an inhale and an exhale. On your next inhale, drop your elbows, open your chest into a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale, lift your arms back up. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale. Last one, open that chest. Arms back up, take an inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fly forward, arms reach back like airplane arms. Inhale it back up. 2 more times, exhale it forward. Inhale it up, last one here. Exhale forward. Inhale, arms back up. We'll spin onto those back toes. We're in a high crescent lunge here. Right arm reaches, left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. Sorry, we'll come into a twist. Lead here with your heart. And then take your left hand down either to the mat or a block next to that left foot and land in a revolved lunge. So open that right arm up towards the ceiling and then really hug those inner thighs in towards one another to help you maintain your balance. On your next exhale, lower your back knee down onto the mat. Shift your shin to be parallel to the front and back of the mat, and then swing your right foot back and land in a modified side plank. This left hand can stay on the block if that feels better for you, or come down onto the mat. In your modified side plank, really lift up through your obliques and your hips. You can try to lift this right leg if you'd like. Take some little leg lifts. Place that right foot down if you have it lifted. Bring your right hand back down under your right shoulder. Shift that shin of the left foot back. Bring the right knee back to meet the left in a tabletop. And then we'll bring the right foot forward to the front of the mat. So however you need to get that foot there, you really have to kind of press down, scoot the right foot forward. We'll come into Anjaneyasana at the front of the mat. Slide a blanket under that back knee if you need a little bit of support underneath. Blocks under hands are good. That will help us keep our chest lifted. Exhale, shift the hips back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. And then 2 more times, inhaling forward into Anjaneyasana, squeeze that left glute. Exhale, shift the hips back, toes point up towards the ceiling. Last one here, we'll inhale it forward. And exhale it back. The next time we come forward, come into Anjaneyasana, plant your hands down on either side of that right foot. You can have blocks under your hands still if you need to. Let's curl those back toes, lift the hips, take the right foot back to meet the left in downward facing dog. Take a couple wiggles here. And then tiptoe to the front of the mat, keep bent knees if you need to. Plant the feet about hips distance apart. Keep the knees bent. Allow the chest to kind of fold forward over the thighs, grab opposite elbows, and take a ragdoll. Release here all the way through the upper back, the neck, the crown of the head, rock side to side. Just release. And then let go of those elbows, roll it back up to stand. Head comes up left. We'll take that on the other side. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, sit back into that Utkatasana, that chair pose. Check in with your pelvis and try to keep it out of a major anterior tilt back bend or posterior tilt. Try to keep a neutral-ish pelvis here in your chair. Bring your hands to heart center, and we'll take this to a twist. So you can either twist towards the left, just bring your hands over your heart. Stay right here. We're engaging the obliques. Or if you'd like to hook the right elbow on the outside of that left knee, you can. Just check in with your knees and make sure that they're staying level. We'll inhale it back to center. Take it to the opposite side, either up high or hooking the elbow. Take a breath in your twist. We'll bring it back to center, and then this time we'll step the right foot back and land in our Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale the arms up overhead. Bend through that left knee. Check in with that left knee. See if it's tracking right over the ankles and toes, not collapsing in or out. Take an inhale and an exhale. And then on your next inhale, open into that back bend. Elbows come down. Exhale it up. Inhale and open. Exhale and lift. Last one here. Open that chest, shoulder blades towards one another. Bring the arms back up. Take an inhale and then exhale. Fly them forward for 3. Inhale it up. 2. Inhale it back up. Last one. Fly it forward. Bring the arms back up overhead. Spin onto those back toes into your high crescent lunge. And then open into a twist. Right arm forward, left arm back. You could even try to gaze back towards that back thumb. Exhale, right hand down on block or the mat. Left arm comes up, revolved lunge. Take a breath. And then bring that back knee down. Start to turn the shin sideways as you swing that left leg back behind you and land in a modified side plank. Take a breath here as you lift up through your hips, through your obliques. Maybe lift that left leg, take some little legless here, working that glute medius. Last one, place that left foot down. Place the left hand down. Start to turn your shin back to be parallel with the sides of the mat. Place that left knee down into your tabletop. And then however you need to get there, bring that left foot forward. Grab your blocks, Anjaneyasana on the left side. Your Anjaneyasana might be a little bit higher, and that's all good. It'll depend here on the front of that right hip. This is a pretty deep hip opener. Once we start allowing that pelvis to come forward and down, it really gets into the front of that right hip. Squeeze the right glute, and you'll kind of notice a little bit more of an opening there. Exhale, shift to the hips back, come onto that left heel, toes point up towards the ceiling, fold over the leg. And then 2 more flows back and forth here on your own. Inhale and exhale through Anjaneyasana and Ardha Hanumanasana. Remember to connect the breath with the movement. Meet yourself where you are today. Next time you come forward into that low lunge, that Anjaneyasana, plant your hands down on either side of that left foot, curl the back toes, lift that left foot back up to meet the right in a downward facing dog. Take an inhale in through your nose, let it go through your mouth. Inhale and lift that right leg up high. Bring your right knee in towards your nose, plant your right foot however you need to get there. That might mean taking little baby steps and using your hand. Meet yourself where you are today. And then cartwheel up, and we'll land in a Virabhadrasana 2. So right knee is bent. Right heel lines up with that left inner arch. Arms reach out in opposite directions. Gaze forward. Inhale and flip your front palm. Reverse your warrior. Reach the right arm up overhead. Left arm slides down the left leg. On your exhale, bring your right forearm to your thigh. Left arm up and overhead. Long line all the way up the left side of the body. Take a breath here. On your next inhale, come back up into warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Turn your right toes to face the side of your mat, and we'll come into a wide-legged forward fold. You might need to narrow or widen your stance depending on your anatomy. If you like to have blocks in front of you, grab those now. Place your hands on your hips. Take an inhale. On your exhale, use your hands to help you fold here, hinging at the hips, releasing, lifting those sit bones up high and wide behind you. Hands can come to block the mat. And then release through that upper back, neck. Maybe shake your head yes and no. Take little wiggles, just anything that would feel good. Just a couple of breaths. Inhale back up into your half lift, and then start to walk your hands back towards the front of your mat. You can bring your blocks with you. Turn your right toes to face forward, and then we'll set up for pyramid pose. So feet hips distance apart like on railroad tracks. Right toes point forward. Left toes might point out just a little, slightly, 45-ish degrees, depending on your anatomy. And then we want to square our hips to the front of the mat. So that might mean widening between your legs, narrowing your stance, whatever that means for you. Hands on hips, take an inhale, and just like we did in that wide-legged forward fold, hinge here, fold forward, hinging at the hips. And then you can stay either in like this half lift position if that would feel good, or you can release through the upper back, neck, and crown of the head. Wherever you are, check in with your hips. See if you can bring that right hip back and left hip forward. So instead of kind of dumping onto one side or the other, we're going to work to square those hips. This is a pretty deep hamstring stretch on that front leg. So maybe narrowing the stance would feel better. You could even have like a little micro bend in that front knee, whatever feels best for you. I just like to say on more intense stretches, it's best to go into these like 30%. Find that point of first resistance. Stay there and just breathe. Allow your body to acclimate and become comfortable. Give your nervous system, the clues and the indications that you're safe and you're not taking it too far. Just breathe. Next inhale, half lift, bend that front knee and just step this left foot to meet the right at the front of the mat. And we'll rise up to stand. And then from here, we'll take a tree pose. So put all of your weight into your left foot, and we'll bring, let's do the other side first. So put all the weight into your right foot, and then this left foot can either have toes down on the mat, ankle, heel on the ankle or like the inside of your lower leg there. And then this will give you stability because you're still grounding down into the earth. We'll open this left leg out to the side. If you want to try to balance it on the leg, you could bring it up to the calf. You could bring it up to the thigh, probably using your hands to help you get it up there. If you have it on the thigh, press the foot into thigh, thigh into foot to kind of help that lock happen. Maybe grow some branches. You can always take these standing at a wall with one hand on the wall. Just take a breath in that tree pose. And then we'll step this left leg back behind us and we'll take a high lizard lunge. So grab those blocks. We'll be on the back toes and start to walk your right leg. You can see towards the right side of your mat. Bring your hands to the inside of that right leg. And then maybe take some little rocks back and forth. And then wherever you are, start to walk the right foot towards the left side of your mat. And then we'll come down onto that right shin into our pigeon prep. So keep the right foot flexed. We'll lower down. The right foot can land. It doesn't need to have a parallel shin. The right foot can land wherever it lands. That's comfortable for your ankle, for your knee, for your hip. If you're having a hard time squaring your hips to the front of the mat, grab a block or your blanket and slide it underneath that right hip. And that may mean like folding your blanket or stacking a block and your blanket, depending on your hips. But work to get the hips square to the front of the mat and then fold forward over this front leg. That might be up a little bit higher on blocks for you. Just say yes here to the reality of your experience. Just listen to your body, tune into what's feeling good and what's not. If this pose is just a no-go for you, something's not feeling right, one option, I'll show it quickly while if you're in it, you can hold it. Otherwise, you can come down onto your back and you'll just cross the right ankle over the left knee into like a figure 4 position. And you can work to hug the left knee in towards the chest. This will still give you the same benefit of the outer hip and glute stretch on the right leg, but it takes out the front of the left hip. When we're in our full pigeon prep, we have a lot opening here through the front of the left hip. So sometimes that can be the intense part for people. So you can always take that option on the back as well. Last breath. I did a lot of talking. I hope I talked you through that one. It didn't seem as long. We'll inhale and come back up, hands back towards your body. Place your hands down on the mat, curl those back toes, and then step the right leg back to meet the left in a downward facing dog. You'll probably say, wow, like my right side feels way different than my left. And that's totally true. So let's get even here between our two sides. Inhale and lift that left leg up high. Bring the left knee in towards the nose. Plant that left foot, cartwheel up into Virabhadrasana 2 on the left. Check in with those shoulders. Are they reaching forward? Try to get them stacked over your hips. Scoop this left hip underneath. Try not to kind of jet out through one hip or the other. Flip that front palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Reach that left arm all the way up overhead. And then exhale, left forearm to left thigh, right arm reaches up and over. Open your chest up towards the ceiling. Press down through the outer edge of your right foot. On your next inhale, rise back up into warrior 2. Straighten that front leg. Turn your toes to face the right side of your mat. I'll turn to face you. And we'll take another wide-legged forward fold. Grab the blocks in front of you if you need them. Hands on hips, exhale, hinge forward. If you'd like to add a twist on this round, you can place your left hand underneath your face. Open that right arm up into a twist. Take a breath. Exhale, right hand comes down, left arm opens up. Check in with those hips. Are they going with you? If they are, see if you can work to get them a little bit more squarish. Bring that left hand back down. Release it all for just a second. Shake out that upper body. Maybe shake your head yes and no. Let it all go. And then start to walk your hands towards the front of your mat. And we'll come into pyramid pose on the left. So keep those feet hips distance apart. The right toes will be turned out just slightly. Square the hips to the front. Exhale, hinge there at the hips as you fold forward. Use the blocks if you need to. Just release. Check in with those hips. Maybe bring the right hip a little bit forward, left hip back. Just breathe. On your next inhale, come into a half lift. Press down into those blocks and bend that front leg. Step the right foot forward to meet the left. Roll all the way up to stand. And we'll try tree pose on the other side. So left foot grounds down and then find the placement of your right foot, wherever that was working for you. Open that knee out to the side externally, rotate that right thigh. Choose your tree pose. And then if you have the foot up in the thigh, or actually wherever the foot is, just check to make sure you're not dumping into the standing leg hip. We want to really zip it in, hug in both glute medius muscles to help support us. Ground down through that foot, maybe grow your branches, find a point to focus on that's not moving. And then whenever you're ready, step that right foot back behind you, grab those blocks, scoot the left foot towards the left side of the mat, come into your high lizard lunge on the left. Maybe rock back and forth. I'm hearing lots of ankle popping going on back here behind me. And then start to heel toe this left foot over towards the right side of your mat and then come down onto your left shin. Take the option on your back that I showed before by crossing left ankle over right knee if that was feeling better for you. Use a prop under that left hip. You could always slide a block under there. Maybe it's because I always use cork blocks, but I don't find that to be very comfortable on my thigh. Something about that like digs into my thigh. I much prefer a blanket or something soft that you can kind of like sink into. But your choice. Choose a prop under that left hip if you need it. And then exhale, fold forward over that front leg. Check in with that left glute. Maybe remind it to let go. Let the stretch happen. Let it release. And just breathe. And take 3 more breaths here. Sometimes these deeper hip openers that we hold in stillness and in silence can kind of bring up thoughts. So no judging here. Don't try to control what's happening. Just choose something that's safe, healthy, feels good for your body. And also just with acceptance, don't be tensing against what's happening. That's the reminder I always have to give myself. This left outer hip and glute for me, it's tense. And all it takes is me saying, oh, release it. And then the stretch feels so much better. So even this is one of my favorite poses and I do it probably every day. And I still have to give myself that reminder to just accept what's happening in the pose and the stretch. And that's why I love the stretch, is because of the wonderful outer hip opening. All right, enough talking. Let's walk back up, curl those back toes underneath, lift that left leg back to meet the right, hopefully feeling a little bit more open on that left side. Come down onto your knees, cross your ankles, and sit back on your seat. We will take a wide-legged forward fold. So I think I will turn to face you. So reach your right leg. It doesn't have to be super wide, just out to the side. Keep your left leg bent, the left sole of the foot towards, it doesn't need to be right up against, but towards the inside of that right thigh. And then we'll fold forward here. If you like to have a blanket under your sit bones to help kind of prop yourself up a little bit, slide that underneath. Have your blocks in front of you if you'd like them, and just walk forward a little bit. Maybe rock side to side. A little micro movement here. Having one leg bent in instead of both extended out sometimes can give us a little bit more comfort in this pose. Just taking one side at a time. We'll inhale and come back up. Just walk your hands back towards your body. Place your right hand on the inside of your right leg, and then just reach your left arm back behind you, up and overhead. We'll take like a revolved Janu Sirsasana kind of variation here. We'll work to open the chest. It doesn't matter where this hand, we're not really reaching towards the toes, because see what this is doing. We're closing off, we're not opening. So just work to open through the chest, and you'll feel a nice stretch going up the left side of your low back. On your next inhale, we'll just come back up to center. You can place that left hand behind you, take your right hand to the outside of your left knee, and just take a tiny little twist, just a little baby twist here. And then we'll inhale it back to center and switch sides. Reach the left leg out, then the right leg in. Take an inhale, ground down through those sit bones. Sit on a prop if you need it. And then exhale, fold forward over that front leg. Just take 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, walk your hands back up. We'll take this into our revolved Janu variation. The left hand comes to the inside of the left leg. Right arm reach back behind you first, and then almost like you're drawing a rainbow. Sweep that arm all the way up and over. Work to open your chest. And then inhale, bring it back up. Just take that right arm back behind you, just right back the way that it came. And then left arm comes to the outside of that right knee, little baby twist here. Inhale it back to center. You can bring both knees in. We'll roll down onto our backs, however you need to get there. Hug both knees in. Give them a few little circles around here, massaging your low back. And then extend your left leg long, hug that right knee in, and take the right knee over towards the left into a half wind twist. So come onto the outer edge of the left hip, stack those hips. Right arm can reach out to the right. Just breathe here for a couple of breaths. You can gaze up at the ceiling, or if it's comfortable for your neck, you can gaze towards that right thumb. On your next inhale, come back up to center. Hug that knee in. And then let's switch. Reach the right leg long, hug the left knee in. Take that left knee over towards the right. I always kind of have to hike up, come onto the outside of my right hip to allow those hips to stack. Left arm can reach up and overhead and out to the side. Have your palm facing up. And here you can play around with that balance between lowering that left shoulder down towards the mat. See, that makes the left leg rise up, or taking that left knee down closer towards the mat. You'll start to just kind of feel the pulls here in your body. It's all connected in there. I'm fascinated by the myofascial network in our body and just how this interconnected web really that encapsulates everything is just, it's all attached. That's a topic for another day, I guess. I always think about it in these stretches. Well, inhale and come back to center. Hug those knees in one more time and take your Ananda Balasana, happy baby. You could grab outer edges of the feet, yogi toe lock, which is your peace fingers on the inside, thumb on the outside of your big toe, or hook a strap around the soles of your feet, or grab onto your legs. So many options here. Whatever feels right. Open up those knees out to the sides. Draw those knees in towards your armpits as you relax your shoulders down onto the mat. Relax up through your neck, and then keep the sacrum from lifting off of the mat as well. Feet stamp up on the ceiling, and baby rock side to side. Come back to stillness. Release those feet. Hug the legs in one more time, and then extend them out long for your Shavasana. Feet reach down towards opposite corners of the mat. Allow those legs to just splay open naturally. Lift your chest up, tuck your shoulder blades underneath. Arms can reach out to the sides with palms facing up. Maybe tuck your chin just slightly and extend through the back of your neck. Close down your eyes. Let's take one inhale in together through the nose. Let it go through your mouth. Just let it all go. Notice if there's anywhere in your body that you might still be holding on to tension or contracting, and just see if you can let it release. Start all the way down with the tips of your toes, up through the bottoms of your feet, your ankles. Relax through your shins and your calf muscles. Release your knees. Feel the heaviness of all of those big, strong thigh muscles. Just sink down towards the floor. Relax through your pelvis and hips. Feel a softness in your low belly. Release through your ribs and your sternum, all the way up to your collarbones. Just allow them to widen as your shoulders sink back down towards the floor. Relax your upper arms, your elbows, forearms, all the way down into your wrists and your palms. Feel the heaviness there as your fingers just curl naturally in. Relax through your neck, release your jaw. Peel your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Feel the softness in your cheeks. all the way up through your forehead into the crown of your head. Continuing with our theme here of acceptance, I will allow you to just meet yourself here in Shavasana where you are today. If you need a little bit more time in your Shavasana, stay here. If you need to come out of Shavasana and start to wiggle fingers and toes, reach your arms and feet in opposite directions. Roll to your side. Pause there for just a beat. And then come up onto your seat, keeping your eyes closed. So you arrive here on your seat. Inhale your arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bring those hands down through heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.